Hey, Kruhi here. The art in this video is the July 2021 thank you card sent out to my patrons. Stick around to the end to see the goodies and stickers that went into this month's card. But as for today's topic, I thought I'd talk a bit about how to get a commission from the side of the buyer, or client, or whatever someone wants to consider themselves, as they are looking to get a custom piece of artwork done from some artist out there on the internet. This video may be a little long, so if you want some specific information, I've split this into chapters you can follow in the description. Now, I'm not an expert in anything, as I've said many times, but unlike when I'm talking about aspects of mental health, bullies, or pavlovas, in this instance, taking on commissions is actually a part of my daily life. So, you want a commission. That's awesome, that's great. In fact, commissioning artists is a big way that many of us make a living, but unfortunately, it can be a bit nerve-wracking if you've never gotten one done before. I've lost track of the number of times people commissioning me have said something along the lines of, I'm new to this, or I don't know what I'm doing, or even expressed that they're nervous and they really don't want to bother me, which, come on now, you're not bothering me. So today we're going to be talking about how to go through the general process of commissions, what you as a buyer should know, and about your rights as a client. Before we start, I want to say that these are based on my experiences as someone who commissions art from other artists, takes on commissions myself, and experiences told to me from friends and acquaintances. They aren't a golden rule or even a silver rule that all artists follow, but should be basic enough to give any buyer a good head start on what to expect, what to ask, and what to keep an eye out for. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. First off, let's talk about where you even find artists, and the simple answer is they're pretty much everywhere. While a lot of artists have their own sites that go into detail about what they offer, like mine, which is simply called kruhi.com, that's not likely where you're going to be stumbling across them. Twitter, Instagram, DeviantArt, Facebook, heck, even Discord are all going to be places where you'll find artists, and many more sites like Fiverr. We advertise just about anywhere we can because that's how we pull in people who pay us. Try checking out hashtags like #commissionsopen, or #commissions, or #artists_on, and then whatever site you're on, or just about any other hashtag that includes art or artists or commissions to get you going on your search, and from there you can fall down the rabbit hole of related hashtags on posts. Now, for me, this is the fun part, but it may also be seen as tedious depending on how people feel about looking through pages and pages of artwork, but what we're looking for while searching is any artistic style that piques our interest. Once you find one, follow it to the artist's main page and look for anything that includes commission information. On a site like DeviantArt, this can be in journals or specific posts. On Instagram, this may be seen in the bio or in pinned stories, sometimes even individual posts. On Twitter, this tends to be a link in the bio that leads to a commission site, but generally somewhere there will be a blurb of info about commissions. Use what info they have listed to pick out what you want done. They should have prices mentioned, but sometimes artists don't. It's a pet peeve of mine, but hey, to each their own. Try to match what you have in your head to what's available. Artists online generally don't just offer anything. Usually they have limits, such as not wanting to offer complex backgrounds or only drawing chibis. Try to ask for something that's within the grounds of the commissions on tap, or find someone else. Think of this as a menu at a restaurant. If you've ever seen Kitchen Nightmares, most often Gordon Ramsay tells restaurants in trouble to trim the fat off their menu and not make it a million miles long. This way, they can focus on making a few things really good instead of trying to do everything, and this is true for artists too. Generally, they tend to be good at something like, for example, realistic character portraits, but they don't do comic styles or chibis or anything else. Now, if it specifically says the artist is not accepting commissions or that they are full, I'd suggest not DMing them, mostly because they took the time to post that status for a reason. However, if there's something that says commission open, or just the word open, or doesn't say anything at all, you have free reign to DM them. So you found an artist, they're open, and now you're looking at a blank message box wondering what the heck to write. It's okay. That anxiety of talking to a total stranger about your original character or whatever else it is that you want to get done is perfectly normal. I will tell you what to write. Here is an example of something I would say to an artist if I were contacting them. Hello, artist name. My name is Kruhi. I found your commission open post on Instagram and I love your style. I was hoping to commission a half-body, full-colored character portrait from you. My character is a female orc with rather detailed full-sleeve tattoos down her arms and otherwise dresses in an A-line tank top with a simple blue denim short shorts. She has a Skrillex haircut with long hair that falls just below her shoulder blades and 3 piercings in her left ear as well as 2 in her right. If you decide to take on my commission, I would be glad to send over a folder of visual references for your convenience. Please let me know if this is something you'd be interested in taking on and what the price range for such a detailed piece might be. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for your time. So let's break down what I said there. I started with an introduction of the artist's name so they know I'm not mass emailing a bunch of people without thought, and the name I'd like to be called. This not only means that the artist doesn't need to track down my name if I use, let's say, a very strange screen name, but also allows them to use it as the name on their commission files if they decide to take this on. Plus, it's just polite. I've had people start off by telling me what they wanted without any introduction, and it does tend to feel a little dehumanizing. I then led into where I found their information. Now, I know this might seem a little silly. If you contact someone on Instagram, obviously that's where you found them, but as artists, we have to advertise a lot, and knowing what brings in traffic is very helpful, so I add it as a courtesy. Next, I include a brief description of my character without going into too much detail on things like personality or their life story. The reason for this is because while personality might be included in some aspects of the commission, it's not important right off the bat. But the more complex a character's appearance, the more time-intensive they tend to be. An artist might not want to take on an overly complex character commission, so it's only fair they know what they're getting themselves into. Keep the initial description compact and direct. A wall of text about their adventures and story is truly not necessary. I also included that I already have references that I'm willing to share to make their job easier. I want them to know that this isn't the only description that they'll be forced to work off of, and that I'm leaving the door open to talking more about it in future correspondence. I finished off my message with asking if they were even open to the commission, because it's really important to remember that just because the message has been sent does not mean that the commission has been accepted. I've also included asking about the price range because time-intensive characters, such as ones covered in extensive tattoos, having complex hairstyles, or very specific and intricate clothing, tend to take more time, and I want to compensate the artist accordingly. This indicates that I know I'm asking for a lot, but I'm also willing to pay for it, and I respect their time as a craftsperson. The tone of my message is polite, businesslike, and friendly without overstepping boundaries. If a person is new to commissions, it's also possible to indicate in the first line something along the lines of, "Hello, my name is," your name, "this is my first commission," or, "I'm very new at commissioning artists," and then continue with, "and I would appreciate your guidance." Keep in mind that the artist may not actually accept your commission, and that's okay. If that's the case, they will offer up that they are too busy, or that the character isn't something they are confident in drawing, or whatever. In which case, it's perfectly fine to say, "Okay, I wish them a good day," and that's it. Please do not ask them to keep you informed of when they're opening commissions again. Odds are they have at least 5 to 20 other people already asking this, and it creates an awkward situation because they don't have time to cater to a bunch of individual people. Instead, if you want to be kept informed, ask if they have a mailing list or a place where they post their commission ads regularly, such as a Discord server or a Twitter. But odds are, if the artist is open, they will answer in the positive that they are open to taking your commission and you are in business. Literally. Depending on the artist, the conversation moving forward will be different, but the most important things to keep in mind will generally remain the same. 1. Have a vision of your commission. Rambling in circles about details tends to make them unclear and hard to follow. Try to keep your explanation of what you want concise, detailed enough to convey your vision, all in one place, and written in simple words. Why simple words? Because your native language might not be the native language of the artist, and while words like resplendent or adroit are good words, they may confuse someone whose secondary language skills are only conversational. 2. Share clear reference pictures. Not everyone is going to have reference images, but if you do, make sure to be clear about what part of them is what. A dump of 10 images with no guidance is confusing and not helpful. Rather, try to label each one and detail what about it is being used as a reference. An example of this might be a picture of a girl sitting in a field of flowers. Perhaps you'd like for your character to wear what she's wearing, and have other references for your character's hair, face, and/or clothing colors. Be sure to convey that it is only the style of the clothing that you want, and nothing more. 3. If you need to make changes during work-in-progress viewings, it's best to make sure to pay attention and state what needs to be edited early and all at once rather than asking for changes near the end. But also, you should know if these will cost extra. I have a policy that changes made by the client because they didn't state an important detail are marked as changes, but mistakes that I make are free, so if I accidentally make the character male instead of female, I will change that at no extra cost. But each artist has their own policy, and it's beneficial to know what that is in advance. 4. Ask for a link to the artist's terms of service. Some artists aren't comfortable with some things, and some may have specific limitations for not only the content of the piece, but also use of the finished piece. At some point, I'm going to have to make a video about rights and copyright law, but simply put, just because you commissioned a piece of artwork doesn't mean you can make copies and benefit from it financially. Be sure to read the terms of service to see what you're getting into and what you're agreeing to. And lastly, payment. The artist should say how much a piece will be up front. If they don't, because let's say they work by the hour, ask for an estimate. You should know what you're getting yourself into before getting stuck with the bill, and reversely, if you agree with the price, please be prepared to pay it. Haggling to get a lower price is very rude when it comes to custom work. Artists already don't pay themselves much, but expect to pay upwards of $30 for a custom artwork, often much, much more. Make sure that whatever payment changes hands does so through official means that can be tracked. Not donations, not family pay, or anything else like that. I use PayPal invoicing because if something goes wrong, we can get PayPal involved, but you want those receipts. As sucky as it is, there are scammers out there, and both artists and clients need to protect themselves. If an artist takes your money and ghosts you, chargebacks exist for a reason. I once met someone who was waiting on the production of a fursuit, which is not a cheap product, and they kept getting ghosted while the artist's social media filled up with images of them making a suit for themselves. Eventually they got a message that boiled down to saying they weren't going to return the money, and they weren't going to make the suit either. This person was very distressed, but I talked to them about how they paid the person and what their bank could do, and they ended up getting almost all their money back. And so we've gotten to my last point of the video. Clients have the right to walk away happy. Now, I don't mean asking for 100 extra changes, and sometimes if too many changes are made by the client, they'll need to pay extra for the extra time. But overall, when a person pays for a custom piece, they deserve to get what they paid for. If you ask for black hair and you get back pink hair, if you say your character has dreadlocks and you get back an afro, if something is drastically different from what you described, you are allowed to speak up and say it's not right. That's why it's so important on the side of the client to be clear and concise about what is described. If the artist advertises this skill level and you get back this skill level, you're allowed as the client to say something. Artists should be respected, but so should clients. And yes, we all have nightmare stories about clients who were overly demanding or rude, but please, don't be afraid. You'll be one of them for advocating for yourself and getting what you're due. From the mouth of an artist who cares, you deserve respect too. You should get what you paid for. Artists aren't always right, and you're allowed to point out mistakes given it isn't done in a degrading or rude way. And speaking about being degrading or rude, commissioning an artist should be a pleasant experience. If they curse at you, or cruel to you, are rude to you, or make you feel less than, you're allowed to walk away. There are literally hundreds of thousands of artists out there, and most of them are some of the kindest, sweetest people I've ever known. One of them deserves your patronage far more than someone who doesn't treat their clients with respect. That's it from me. I really hope that at least some of this has been helpful to people out there looking to commission an artist. If I can help just one person avoid the pitfalls I've seen time and time again, or alleviate some anxiety, then I'll say this has been a success. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you can think of anything that people should know that I forgot to include, please leave it in the comments to help others navigate commissioning artists. Otherwise, if you agree, disagree, or just want to share your commission story in the comments, please do so, as I love to hear from you guys, and I read each and every one. If you liked this video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed and you want more videos, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be alerted of future videos every Thursday. I hope you all are having a beautiful day, or night, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!